Now joining us to discuss this is World Affairs analyst Bolu Michael-Biyi, and he joins us live from Kigali, Rwanda. Bolu, thanks for joining us. I mean, let's start with the key challenges here in the U.S.-Russia talks that Marco Rubio just described as a first step in a long and difficult journey towards ending the Ukraine war. What do you think his challenges will be?
Okay, thank you for having me. I think one challenge, the answer is technically in the question itself, the fact that it's a first step, after a very prolonged warfare, it's the first step after, of a long negotiation process. So it's a really complicated situation because both sides have deep-seated grievances that they need to sort out. And the fact that there's no roadmap, for this, for peace in this war, it's something that's challenging as well, because they still need to sit down and draw up a peace deal, and they still have to do a lot of back and forth. Diplomacy is a long process, negotiation is a long process, and the fact that it's just about to take we're just having the first step is I think is a major challenge. And Ukraine not being invited, to talks could pose a challenge as well, being that it can lead to slow progress in the course of their talks.
I mean, and how significant is the exclusion of Ukraine and European representatives from this high-level discussions? And what might what might this even mean for Ukraine's role in future peace talks?
Personally, I don't see anything wrong for the sidelining Ukraine at this stage of the negotiation process, and I'm going to tell you why. The fight starts with European Union. And if it's going to end, it shouldn't end with the European Union as well. It's not compulsory for EU to be part of the talks, even though it's a nice thing to do, but they're not obliged to do so. If any organization should be part of the talks, I think it should be NATO, because Russia is concerned with the fact that Ukraine was joining NATO. Russia, they was the aggressor, so it just makes sense for them to be the first to be approached. It's part of the mediation process to approach each party separately before they sit on the table. So when they approach Russia, they have the talks, and afterwards they sign that they were going to meet with Ukraine separately. So they come together at the third stage, so that that conversation can be constructive. That's why it's important for them to meet separately first. So I don't see anything wrong for Russia to be approved at this stage, but it's if they continue to approach Russia alone, and there's a problem. There's a risk that they are going to create a deal that would favor solely Russia, which Zelensky has said he's not going to agree with.
And how could the Kremlin's willingness to speak with President Zelensky, if necessary, affect the dynamics of the conflict and the negotiation process?
Yeah, I think it's a positive development that they're at least willing to talk, because if one party is talking and the other party is not listening, and they're just literally just talking to themselves. But the clause that is important to take note of is the if necessary part there. So that clause, could also suggest that Russia is trying to control the terms of engagement, which is quite unfortunate, so they can easily say they are not coming to talks because it is not necessary. They're going to raise the ground of necessity, So if talks continue without Ukraine has said it outrightly that if they come up with a deal without them being involved in it, they are going to reject it. And I think they have every reason to reject an agreement that they didn't sign up to.
And just lastly, before I let you go, what are the potential implications of Russia's refusal to accept a peace deal without its direct involvement? And might this influence the outcome of the talks?
Yeah, I think so, because if the talks break down, it's just going to complicate the entire diplomatic process. It's going to complicate diplomacy. It's complex. Diplomacy itself is complex. So if the one party is refusing and all, it makes it more complex. And I think the very obvious effect is that if the one party is refusing, it's going to prolong the conflicts. They're going to keep fighting. They're going to keep murdering people and things like that. But Ukraine, on the other hand, they need to be involved, and I believe they're going to be involved in the talks at some point in time, because with Ukraine being part of the talks, it still gives them that authority or that power to still be at the center of deciding what they want their future to be like. So let's see what happens in the weeks and months to come.
Well, I must say thank you so much, Michael, for Bolu, for taking out the time. Bolu, Michael-Biyi here, World Affairs Analyst, is giving us a bit of insight on the peace deal with Russia and Ukraine. Once again, thank you.
Thank you for having me.